More details have been released since our last update surrounding the horrific shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, who was shot and killed by ICE in Minnesota. We now have the agent's identity as well as a New York Times forensic analysis of the shooting. Uh, let's play A1.
New video tonight. This is some of it. It is grainy, difficult to see. Could provide, it certainly provides another angle on what happened before 37-year-old Minneapolis mom was shot and killed by an ICE officer shortly after dropping her 6-year-old off at school.
But our analysis of bystander footage, filmed from different angles, appears to show the agent was not in the path of the victim's SUV when he fired 3 shots at close range. Here's how events unfolded. Moments before the shooting, the victim's maroon SUV is stopped in the middle of the street. Multiple unmarked federal vehicles are idling nearby. Secretary Noem alleged the motorist, quote, was blocking the officers in. Bystanders are blowing whistles and yelling at federal agents.
Go home to Texas!
Then, federal vehicles start moving toward the maroon SUV, with sirens and lights blaring. A federal agent films the scene on his phone. The driver rolls forward slightly, turning left, then stops and waves for others to go ahead. 2 agents exit this silver pickup and walk toward the vehicle. Moments later, shots are fired.
Yeah, there you have it. You witness now from multiple angles. Another new angle came out today from the officer's own body camera footage. Another angle I just saw show the clear distance between the vehicle and the officer who the president of the United States claimed was run over and almost killed, which is just a complete lie. Minnesota investigators have also now been barred from taking part in the probe into the fatal ICE shooting. The head of Minnesota's state investigations agency, and there is Good on screen right there. The head of Minnesota's state investigations agency said Thursday that the U.S. Attorney's Office has barred it from taking part in the investigation into an ICE officer's fatal shooting of a Minneapolis woman. Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans said in a statement that after the agency consulted with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the FBI following the Wednesday shooting of 37-year-old mother of 3, Renee Nicole Macklin Good, quote, it was decided that the BCA Force Investigations Unit would conduct a joint investigation with the FBI, and that the BCA responded promptly to the scene and began coordinating investigative work in good faith. Vice President Vance, however, early yesterday morning, called the woman a deranged leftist. This is how the vice president responded in a press conference.
On duty, or has he been placed on leave, on administrative leave? And what really was the target of the operation on Wednesday? Of the ICE operation on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was a legitimate law enforcement operation. We were going door to door to try to find criminal illegal aliens and deport them from the United States of America, because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws. Whether he's been placed on administrative leave, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd refer it to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can follow up. I will say, look, I would appreciate everybody saying a prayer for that agent. Look, in the past 6 months, he has been hit twice by a motor vehicle.
I don't know what timeline we're living in. We're living in bizarro world. It's a very strange time. Just the full-on government propaganda being deployed in unison in real time by people who do not care about the truth. They simply care only about pushing their slanted, biased, and very often racist agenda on the American public. They just go unfettered, unchecked. And I guess it's our duty as citizens to check them in moments like this. Here's what we know about the shooter's identity, presented by TYT contributor Jordan Ewell via The Intercept.
Jonathan Ross. His name is Jonathan Ross. The ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis this week was identified on Thursday. The Intercept found a photo on Facebook that showed he served in Iraq, which had many people, again, pointing out the war always comes home. Last June, he was involved in another incident where he was dragged by a car, and that allowed reporters at The Intercept and elsewhere to figure out who he was. Even though we know who pulled the trigger, there's reason to be concerned about where this investigation could be headed, because the FBI is blocking Minnesota state law enforcement from participating in the investigation. This has community activists understandably upset. A member of their community is now dead. And in any other circumstance, a full investigation seems like the next logical step, but not the case here, because Kristi Noem said at a press conference on Thursday that they expect they will find in their investigation that he followed their guidelines.
Yeah, which he did not. Any law enforcement officer will tell you that you do not have the right to shoot somebody trying to flee. You do not have the right to shoot somebody in a vehicle unless they have another weapon in addition to the vehicle, unless they are trying to kill you, which it is incredibly clear with the 3 miles an hour that Ms. Good was driving away at while turning to the right away from the officer, who we've all had a car leaving come that close to us. I mean, you literally could bang the hood. You could have this idea, step out of the way. It takes more time to shoot into a window than it does to step out of the way of the car. He was probably putting himself more in harm's way by not just diving, stepping deeply back, which you see again from many angles. He was not near the car when it turned. He was near, but he wasn't near. He was near it, but he was not in front of it. He was not hit by it. There was no threat to this man's life, but he did take the life of another. Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent's father, Ed Ross, defended his son and predicted he would be charged with nothing. The FBI is currently in charge of the investigation, with local investigators withdrawing from the case reluctantly after being denied access to evidence. The father said, quote, "He's a committed conservative Christian, a tremendous father, a tremendous husband. I couldn't be more proud of him." Close quote. According to the reports, Jonathan Ross has been married to a Filipino wife who is a U.S. citizen, but it is unknown for how long. Since 2012. His in-laws are doctors in the Philippines. Ross is also an Iraq war veteran who has worked with ICE since 2013. He is a member of a tactical unit called the ICE ERO Special Response Team. According to Good's ex-husband, Renee was not an activist. She had just dropped her young son off at school before the deadly ICE shooting. But you know how it is when moms drop kids off. They're dangerous and you got to take action. That's the mandate in America, apparently. Speaking to the Associated Press on Thursday, Good's former husband, who declined to be identified for the safety of their children, said his former wife was not an activist and had never, to his knowledge, even attended a protest. Her mother, Donna Ganger, told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune that her daughter is, quote, "one of the kindest people I've ever known." On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance said she was part of, quote, "a broader left-wing network to attack and to dox and to assault and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their jobs." I'd like to point out that the administration running our country and the world right now continues to just out of thin air make up these invisible and imaginary left-wing organizations. It's Antifa. Where are they located? Who are their offices? Who are their leaders? We don't know. We have no idea. We're just saying that so we can control the populace and scare you through the real domestic terrorism, which is the wanton murder of American citizens by the president of the United States and his thugs. A broader left-wing network. Who? A mom dropping her kid off at school? This is who you're afraid of? It's really disgusting. It's really, really gross, and it's very stupid, and it makes you look very weak and soft. Bunch of cucks in this administration just straight up murdering people because they're afraid of school moms. Vice President J.D. Vance wrongly claimed Thursday that the ICE agent who shot and killed Minneapolis poet and mother Renee Good is protected by, quote, absolute immunity. Not a thing that is in any way what ICE agents are protected by. But again, who cares about facts when you can just make stuff up and people swallow it whole? That's nice. Vance answered, quote, the precedent is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. He's protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. He was not. There is no absolute immunity for ICE agents. That is a lie, one of many from the administration. There's more. I'd like to check in mid-story here with Tehran for your thoughts because there's too much already to comment on. Tehran.
Well, obviously, first of all, and first and foremost, my prayers and condolences to the family of Renee Nicole Good. 37-year-old mother dropped her child off at school, ended up murdered by ICE immigration officer Jonathan Ross, who, and to his defense, was a conservative Christian. And to her dismissal, she was a leftist Democrat. That is not how this country works. We should not be having to defend her character whatsoever. It should not matter if she was an activist or not. In fact, if she had been an activist and had attended protests and then was murdered, that would be retaliation. That would actually be even higher than the murder itself, because that is not how this country works. This country works that all people are created equal, that we all are entitled to liberty and justice equally for all. And this is not how this country is supposed to work. You asked, where are we doing? What are we watching? We are literally watching Man in the High Castle, season 4, episode 14. That is what we're watching right now. A woman was murdered in cold blood in the street. Now, should she have listened to an immigration officer? Sure. Was she an immigrant, an illegal immigrant? Was she any of the above? Is that what these ICE agents are supposed to be doing? Think about it this way. This is a slippery slope. If they can do it to Renee Nicole Good, what can they do to you? This is tyranny at its finest. Please be aware. Do not take this very lightly. This is how it always starts. You push and push until it's all collapsed. And then we'll be sitting there wondering why, when we could have stopped it now.
Yeah, 100% well said. Plus, it doesn't even matter when it comes to human rights and common humanity if she was an illegal immigrant. Yes, we should enforce our laws and protect our borders. We can do so without becoming monsters. We can do so without abandoning our values. We can deport people who should not be here. We can do that by enforcing our laws without turning into murderers.
But that's the thing, Ben. Honestly, the brutality is part of their plan. I've seen this playbook. It's happening right now in Iran. It was happening in Venezuela. That brutality is part of the plan. You don't have to do a lot when you can control the masses simply through fear, by being extremely aggressive and brutal. President Obama deported more illegal immigrants from this country than any other president in history. Yep. Why are the same people who are for deporting illegal immigrants not supporting him then? Why are they not praising that of him? Why do they use that against him? The point of it is how it was done. We did not see images of people in cages. We did not see people being shot and gunned down in the streets. What I'm saying is we need to do this responsibly, and we all need to be aware. This doesn't just affect illegal immigrants, it affects all of us. What we often do is go, well, this is not my problem. Yes, this is a problem. Yes, this is all of our problem.
Absolutely. And yes, of course, you should follow the orders of law enforcement, and it's a very dangerous thing to not do so. At the same time, when there's chaotic deployments of undertrained people who are circling a car, giving conflicting agreements, some saying back up, some saying move forward, some saying get out of the car. The guy who fired the weapon filming on his own iPhone. This is a chaotic, insane environment that is being deployed on American citizens. This is not law enforcement doing its work in a way that is rational or reasonable. It's chaos, and you can't follow orders from chaos. If you're familiar at all with chaos, that's sort of the nature of the word. It's you don't know what to make of it, and any human being is going to be in a bit of a tailspin when that happens. But at least we've got some reasonable minds, some American figures who we respect deeply who are weighing in on this. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's Kyle Rittenhouse chiming in. Kyle Rittenhouse was quick to speak out, of course. Quote, FAFO, that's F around and find out. Don't try and hit an ICE agent with your vehicle and you won't end up in the forever box, he called it. It's pretty simple. After thinking about it, he continued, should I travel across the state line to Minnesota? He asked his followers, adding a laughing emoji for good measure. What a piece of garbage this kid is. Laughing about the fact that he actually also killed people without even law enforcement training, but just taking the law into his own hands. Remember when he was in the witness box crying his eyes out? I had no choice, but I had to. And now you're saying, should I go? Because they're effing around and finding out? Ha 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 ha. It's funny how different you are when you're not on trial, but instead are just mocking the horrible taking of an American citizen's life. What a piece of garbage. And the right wing in this country welcoming this boy as a hero with fireworks and pyrotechnics on stage when he appears at conservative conferences like he did something good other than shoot people for no reason. It's so disgusting. This place we're living in, Kristi Noem going and doing press conferences right after this murder happens, wearing a ridiculous cowboy hat she's never worn, covering her eyes so you can't see her facial expressions, cosplaying as some kind of badass, cosplaying as some kind of tough person, straight up lying about the facts of the murder of an American citizen in cold blood and broad daylight for no damn reason whatsoever, calling Michelle Good a domestic terrorist, calling Renee Good a domestic terrorist. I'm worked up about this. This is insane. Just devaluing the power of our words. A domestic terrorist? Dropping your kid off at school? What world are we living in? It's insane. This is what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had to say.
It is so hard to sit here sometimes because I didn't come to Congress to write laws or to do things that are hurting people. I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay.
Yeah, very well said and very true. And to be fair, there were definitely those on the left that were celebrating Kirk's death. And those people were idiots and wrong and immoral and should be condemned and were condemned. I knew Charlie Kirk. I debated Charlie Kirk. The moment I heard of his shooting, I condemned it. I prayed for him to make it through, and I found out he was murdered. I was so sad for so many days after this. It's still a horrible thing to witness somebody that I personally knew being assassinated. But for some in this country, political party, political affiliation means more than humanity. It's so disgusting, and you see time and again, people on the right more often than not, and the extreme on the left should be condemned equally for the exact same thing. Celebrating assassination, celebrating murder in cold blood. The comments on the video clearly showing this woman not trying to kill anybody, just trying to drive away, saying, I don't care about her, but oh, there's a dog in the car. I hope the dog is okay. You don't care about the human being? The ICE officers themselves not allowing a physician access to her after she was shot in the face, saying, I don't care if you're a physician? Who are we? What has this country become? It's become disgusting. In moments like this, in ways like this, it's become disgusting. And we have to stand up and be better than that and take our country back. If we do not stand up for what is right, then we are no better. One Department of Homeland Security officer was seen kicking vigil candles for good. Take a look.
Really, you punk? That's what you're gonna do? What? 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 Do you know what that is for? Back up. What is that for? Back up. What is that for? Back up. What is that for? Back up. You're gonna push me? What is that for? Back.
Good guys right there. Tehran, you have any last thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I definitely agree with your sentiment on Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't know why that person is talking. Remember when they used to tell LeBron to just shut up and dribble?
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle Rittenhouse, why don't you shut up and graduate high school or whatever it is that you haven't done? I don't understand why you're still in the public eye and you've become this icon. And remember, for what? For murdering people in the streets. That's literally what you did. And you were able to claim self defense sardonically somehow in the law system. That worked in this case. I wonder if it would work the other way around. If it was a White Lives Matter rally and Jamal Rittenhouse went there and shot up a couple protesters, how that would have played out maybe a little differently in the court system. But when it comes to Charlie Kirk, this is a man I did not know. And I thought a lot of things he said was abhorrent. And yet I was sad for a number of days after his death because of other reasons. I did not need to know him to understand that his death was in disgust and poor taste and was actually absolutely immoral. That is not how this country works. If you do not believe in the freedom of speech for those you disdain, then you do not believe in the freedom of speech. This whole left-right ideology that has become the Bloods and Crips of this gang war that the government thinks that it's leading is absolutely disgusting. That is not how this country works. Right wing, left wing, same bird. We are all on the same ship. You're supposed to be the president for everybody, not just the people who agree with you. So we're looking at the demise. And if you see that Homeland Security agent kicking over visual candles, just remember what they're doing. This is in honor of a person who was murdered for whatever the reason is. That is a mother, that is a wife, that is a partner, that is a human being, someone's daughter, and you're kicking over candles and then stepping up and telling another citizen to move back, being a bully. This is how it starts. We have all seen this movie. It does not end well for us.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see how it unfolds. Hopefully we have better minds, more rational minds prevail, and we stand up for something.
I don't know anymore, Ben. I don't know if we're going to have rational minds. I'm actually losing hope. I am watching this world collapse. This is all the breadcrumbs of chaos, anarchy, civil war, whatever you want to put it in. This is how this starts.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is definitely a scary moment. This is definitely a scary time. And the instinct, or just the feeling, not an instinct, but to lose hope at times like this for sure is understandable. But that's exactly when you have to double down. That's when I hope people double down, protest, speak out, and say that this is not us. Because if we get jaded about it, if we get blasé about it, if we allow the Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller philosophy of them flooding the zone with so much garbage and chaos and disgusting activity that we just become desensitized and give up hope and let them do it, that's exactly when we lose the country. And I'm sure people in Iran, I know you're Iranian, people in Iran probably have had moments of giving up hope over the years of such an oppressive regime, but you see them all of a sudden now rising up in the streets as well. And it's never too late to stand up and fight against tyranny, I think.